Hey guys, now Urban Decay has had lots of hot launches lately, but I've been interested in this guy. This is called the Naked Skin, the Illuminizer, and what this is this is a translucent pressed beauty powder, and then it has radiant pearl highlighting, light diffusing. There's a short description as to what this powder is at the back, and let me just quickly read it to you. It says that this powder is damn pretty. That's the first line. And then it says that it gives you a sophisticated everyday glow with a illuminate, and you can get that glow with this illuminating finishing powder. So what this is, they claim that this is a finishing powder, and then it says that it diffuses light to blur flaws for a very soft focus finish, and at the same time it gives you a very radiant look. Then it says this is a jet milled formula. Probably what they're saying, implying is it's a very finely milled formula. It has a very silky feel and glides on weightlessly. And then it also says that the shade of this powder is a translucent shade which works across the board on any skin tone, from pale to deep. And then they say just use it on all over the face for a very glowy look, and then you can also layer it if you want to highlight for a more strobed effect. Now here it says that this is a finishing powder, but on the product page on Sephora's website, this particular products page, it says that it can be used as both as a setting powder, meaning now I do not use a foundation or a concealer, so I'm just this is just my perception of a setting powder from my observation on makeup videos, so don't completely take my word for it. But they say that you can use a sponge with this. It does come with a sponge, by the way, so you can use a sponge for a very heavy look, meaning what they mean is probably it gives you a better coverage to set the foundation, or you can just use like a brush to just give you a very like a finishing powder kind of a look. Now the reason I bought this is because I wanted to use this as a finishing powder. Now you're wondering, why am I using a finishing powder if I don't wear like a makeup or a makeup base? It's just, I just love the look that the Hourglass Ambient lighting powder gives. I just absolutely love this. It's a very expensive powder. That's the reason I actually bought this, because this is very expensive and I absolutely love it. So I just wanted to compare it and see if this is nearly as good as this, and so if it's really good I would just switch to this, because this is retails for $46 and you get 10 grams of product, whereas this is $34 and you get 9 grams of product. So that's why I really bought it, because this is fantastic. This powder is really good. I do have like a review video on this particular product. If you're interested, I will link it down below in the description bar. Now let me quickly tell you how this product, the ambient lighting powder, works for me. Now ambient lighting powder comes in like 5 or 6 shades. This is the darker shade. They also claim that all of the 6 shades or 5 or 6 shades works on all skin tones. So they also say that this ambient lighting powder is translucent, so that's why it works across all skin tones. And this is supposed to give you a very soft, focus and luminous finish. Now, luminosity definitely does give me luminosity, meaning at the end of the day, when my skin starts to like, when the oil starts to come out, when my face gets oily, this guy actually saves the day, because it doesn't make my face oily when at the end of the day. It kind of makes it very luminous. This powder kind of like transforms that oily, greasy look into a luminous look. That's one of the best things I love about this. It's very, very weightless, and it glides beautifully, and it's definitely not heavy at all, and it just actually literally melts into your skin and becomes one with your skin. And it does blur all this fine lines. I do have fine lines, and I'm sure everybody has laugh lines, so it kind of blurs out the laugh lines and very fine lines that you may have in your face. And also underneath the eyes, I don't know, for some reason I get oily here, and my face starts looking very, very greasy. But it kind of changes the greasiness into, I feel that there's a very thin line between luminous and greasy, and it prevents my face from getting greasy but makes it look luminous. That's the best thing I love about it, and it's very lightweight, and you can hardly see it on my face. It's like it literally feels like skin. That's why I'm willing to spend $46 on this. Now my goal was to determine if this powder gives me a very similar look. Now let me just show it to you. The packaging, it just comes with a button where you press it and then it opens. It does come with a mirror, and the bottom, it does, like, when you open this up, there's a small, like, kind of a extension here. When you press it down, you can see the sponge. I have not used a sponge because I don't wear makeup bases, and I don't really need to set anything because there's nothing to set. I just use this on bare face, bare skin. So this, oops, okay, I don't think I broke it. Anyways, so my goal was to determine if this actually works really good as a finishing powder. So yeah, this looks very beige. Actually, in person, I don't think you can actually see the shade because it's very light and very beige. Let me just swatch it for you quickly. So that is the color. It's actually pretty light on my skin. Let me just quickly swatch Hourglass. Now Hourglass is definitely lighter. When you maybe you can see, definitely has more brown to it, and this has more beige. Do you see it? And this is just one swatch. Do you see how light this is? And this is actually dark. I understand that this is a multitasker. It can be used as, what's that click sound? Anyways, this can be used as both as a setting powder, more for a heavier look, and a finishing powder, meaning a very sheer coverage also. So so it is made for both, for two purposes. But anyways, now this doesn't have glitters, actually not glitters, shimmers actually infused in the powder, meaning the Hourglass actually is a shimmery powder in itself. The powder itself is shimmery. That's why it gives you such a strong luminous look. But at the same time, the shimmers are so finely milled. I would call these micro, not even micro, these are nano shimmers, guys. Just literally so tiny, and at the same time it's so invisible. It's so invisible, but it's you can see the effect on the face when you use this. So the shimmers are very tiny and minuscule, but not too like minuscule enough that it just disappears and you just can't see a difference. You can definitely see a difference. But this is not a shimmery powder in itself. This is just I feel a matte powder with actually quite a large size glitters. You can actually see the glitter here and there, and when you apply it on your face, you can actually see the glitter randomly dispersed in your face. Whereas the Hourglass, actually the powder itself is a shimmery powder to begin with. It's actually, how do I say it? This is shimmers in a powder form. That's what this is. Very nano shimmers in powder form. Whereas this is powder with just glitters. The size of the glitter is actually not huge, but you can definitely see it on my face, dispersed it here and there when I use this as a finishing powder. So and this, as you can see, they say that this is complementary to all skin tones, but I feel it doesn't, anyways, this doesn't like give me like a white cast, certainly not, but I can definitely, when I'm applying it on my face, I can definitely see that it gives me a coat, like a coat of a different, lighter to my skin tone. The coat that it gives, the layering that it gives, this particular powder, the Urban Decay powder, is kind of lighter than my skin tone. I can definitely see that it kind of very tiny bit lightens my skin tone, but not so light that it gives me a white cast. And also I did not see any flashbacks in photographs that I took, but definitely you can see this beige tone definitely influencing your skin color. tiny bit because this is so light. But this guy, the ambient lighting powder, it does not influence my skin tone. It doesn't lighten or darken my skin tone. This is literally truly a translucent powder. It becomes invisible, but at the same time it does work its magic. So I feel the Urban Decay definitely kind of lightens my skin tone tiny bit, but not to the point that it gives me a white cast, but definitely this beige, light beige shade definitely tiny bit lightens my skin tone. And this is definitely heavier, guys, and I feel this kind of settles in my lines, the fine lines that I have, because one day I just applied everywhere, all over my face and also under my eyes, and towards the end of the day when I kind of just pulled my eye a little bit and I could see the powder settled in the fine lines. You can see I have pretty fine lines under my eye, so it does settle in the lines under my eye. But this has never settled, or maybe it has, but I just can't see it, and it just blurs the fine lines as well. Now Urban Decay also blurs my fine lines, definitely. It actually gives me a very airbrushed look, to be honest. That's where I feel the radiant lighting, the ambient lighting powder falls tiny bit short. It doesn't like blur the pores. It doesn't like, well, it does, definitely does to an extent, but not as much as Urban Decay. The Urban Decay blurs the pores more. It kind of gives you a very airbrushed look better than the Hourglass one. So in conclusion, I hope I'm not confusing, guys. I'm starting to feel confused myself. The difference is comparing and contrasting. But in a gist, I feel the Urban Decay is definitely heavier, and it's not completely translucent. Definitely no. It kind of definitely lightens my skin tone a tiny bit. So if you are even more darker than me, maybe there is a possibility that it can give you a white cast. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. But it definitely lightens my skin a tiny bit. I can definitely see the difference. Meaning after I apply the powder, if I do this, now I don't have a lot of powder. I have the very, very sheer powder from Revlon, Nearly Naked. So that's why I'm very happily doing this, because it's a very, very sheer coverage. So when I apply this powder and I do this, I can definitely see my skin underneath, which is a little tiny bit darker. So this powder is definitely heavy, and it does settle in the lines. In the laugh lines, I can actually see it settled. In the fine lines under my eyes, it definitely settles. And then what else? And the glitter is actually, and the luminosity and the strobing effect that they're talking about, I don't know, it's just not working for me. The glitters are actually pretty, they are not very finely milled. You can definitely see when I use this like lightly dusted on my face, you can see the glitters dispersed here and there. And according to me, that's not a luminous effect. It's just, why do you have glitters randomly spread across your face? That's just the question I would like think of when I see someone's face having glitters like that. But so yeah, on the positives, I feel this definitely blurs your face. I think probably for a period of time, because like I said, it settles in the lines. So it definitely blurs your pores, like all my pores kind of like disappear. And this is when I do not have a makeup base like foundation and concealer on. This is just on bare skin. When I use this on bare skin, my pores definitely shrink and appear very almost invisible, I would say. And it definitely gives you a very, very airbrushed look. It just gives you a very flat, but it's not like flat and doesn't have any dimension. It's not like that. It actually gives you a very airbrushed look. That it does. It gives you a very soft focus finish that they're talking about at the back of the box. That it does. But for me, the negatives are, it's a little bit heavier. It settles in the lines of my face, and then the glitters, it's not luminous shimmery powder. It's just plain powder with just glitters, large size glitters. But what I really like about this, the ambient lighting powder, is This is just shimmers in a pressed powder form, like a nano shimmers, very, very finely. You wouldn't even guess how finely milled it is. It's such finely milled powder. And this gives me a soft focus finish as well, but not as much as the Urban Decay. And it does not settle. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but the powder is so finely milled that you just can't tell whether this has actually settled in your lines or not. Even when I pull it down, you just can't say. And it does remove the greasiness in my skin. Towards the end of the day, if I see I can actually see that the areas are trying to become greasy and make my face look greasy, but this powder prevents it from becoming greasy. But the Urban Decay also prevents it from becoming greasy, but it just settles in the lines. And when you do this, you can definitely see when you come really close up, you can definitely see. Now I do not have any powder on my face except for the Revlon Nearly Naked. So yeah, I hope I did not confuse you guys. Hope this video was informative and useful. So yeah, I will be returning this, the Urban Decay one. I don't think this is anywhere close, but I understand why this was made this way, because this is for a dual purpose. This can be also used for setting, they say, setting makeup, but I don't know how this performs as a setting powder, because I have nothing to set, to be honest. I use this only on bare face, bare skin. So yeah, as a finishing powder, I definitely like the Hourglass one than this. Hope you guys found this video useful. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked watching it, and please subscribe. Bye.